His Holiness Swami Maharaj, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to be present here on this occasion and share with you some of my thoughts and reflections on Sadhu Paramtattva Das's book, An Introduction to Swaminarayan Hindu Theology. Now, what we have in this book is a very good, solid example of Vedantic theology in the classical style, which proceeds by engaging with and writing commentaries on the foundational texts such as the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, and various other texts. Now, when you read these texts and when you read their commentaries, what you see is that they are trying to struggle with certain very key questions, which also turn up in Sadhu Paramtattva Das's book. So here are three of them, just to give you a kind of a sample of what you will find if you read the book, which I strongly urge you to do so. So the first one is, if God is beyond the scope of human sensibility, how are we going to know about God? And if you say in response to that question, through God's own revelation, when God reveals God's self to you, then you have to ask a question precisely in which texts, which scriptures are these revelations to be found? And then you have a whole set of questions about where do I go looking for that? Then here is a second question, what is the relation between spiritual practice, sadhana, textual commentary, and critical reasoning? How are the three elements, how are they combined together in spiritual life? Are they disjointed? Is there some fundamental inconsistency across these three? And then, of course, the third question, which is in many ways the most basic, fundamental, crucial question in Vedantic thinking, in Hindu traditions, what are the basic fundamental elements or constituents of the universe? How many are there? Is it 1, 3, 5? And you can spend a lifetime, or as the case may be, several lifetimes trying to answer this question. And when you study the different Vedantic acharyas or thinkers, you'll find various kinds of answers. And what is very significant about the Swaminarayan tradition is that the answer given to that is that there are 5 eternal entities. So why do you need 5, and why can't you just have 3, or you can't have 1? And what Sadhu Paramtattva Das shows is how critical reasoning, by operating with the data of scripture, tries to argue the case for why the number 5 is a more plausible, more coherent interpretation of the scriptures than the other competitors. Now, one of the most striking features of the book that really struck me is that after reading the book, I kind of understood that here we have a living, vibrant tradition that does not simply go around building temples, but has a very solid conceptual theological basis. And I'll tell you why I make that reference to building temples. I lived in Delhi for almost 10 years, and I was aware of the existence of Swaminarayan Hinduism simply because the great Akshardham temple, it occupies such a prominent space on South Delhi's skyline. But before I read this book, I was not aware that what we have in Swaminarayan Hinduism is a very vigorous, vibrant, living Hindu tradition which is engaged in the complexities of living in the world, both in India and various other locations in the West. So I strongly, again, recommend this book to you, and I urge you to read it if you have not read it, because Sadhu Paramtattva Das, writing as a scholar practitioner, shows us a way of trying to bridge various divisions, such as the division between the life of faith and the world out there, and equally importantly, the huge division that sometimes you find between the life of academic discourse and religious living. So thank you.